This is TWiT.
So if you follow the smart home market as much as we do, you've probably for a while been seeing teasers for a product called Brilliant, which is a device that is on your wall. It works with voice and with a screen. They have a fabulous promo video that uses an excellent Beatles song. And I don't say that I love promo videos very often, but I do love this one. And we're excited to talk to Brilliant's CEO and founder, Aaron Amy. Thank you so much for joining us, Aaron.
Hi,
Thanks
Aaron.
so much for having me on. Hello.
So I have the product right here, and we're gonna show it off in just a bit, and then Aaron has brought a bit of an MTV style demo for us. So get ready for another episode of Know How Cribs, because it's happening today here, harkening back to the old times. Aaron, thanks for joining us today. So before we kind of jump into what the Brilliant product is, why don't you start us off with a little bit of, give us your elevator spiel.
Well, it's not really a spiel. It's more of a story of how this came to be. And I had sold my last company and was taking some time to do some home remodeling. And I found something interesting because I wanted to put a lot of smart technology in the house, and I really liked the devices. But I found that the experience of having a number of them in the house was pretty poor. I was not enjoying the experience of interacting with the house because I had to be using an app on my smartphone to dim the lights or to lock the door or anything like that. And that seemed very strange and artificial. And house guests or kids who don't have phones can't actually use the house. And that didn't seem like a big step forward. And I started thinking, well, where do I want to be able to control the house? And the light switch seemed like a natural point to do that from. I knew that it was important to have the ability to control the home from anywhere that you were in the house, and that anybody should be able to do it. And there's a light switch in every room, so it gives you that kind of ubiquity. And it's got power running to it, so you don't have to have cords running around or replace batteries. And it's the home control that you already use the most. So it's natural to overload that and give it new kinds of capabilities to control everything else that's in the house. And finally, it controls the lights. And smart lighting is one of the big things that people want out of a smart home. And I felt the solutions there were also not that great. So it was a pretty natural thing to do. And then when we got into it, we realized how hard it is to do a product like that with power electronics and simplifying the user experience and so on. So we've been working on it for about 3 years and just launched it this last week. So it's an exciting time for us.
So I've got it here in my hand, obviously not installed because this is not installed in my house yet. That's coming soon from me, but I figured, Aaron, since I have you could talk about the product and tell us
Sure.
what we're looking at here and what it is that I'm holding. So this is just the front panel, right?
That's right. It comes in two pieces. There's a front panel like that, and then there's a back panel which has all of the power electronics in it. It's also got a light switch button that you can use in an emergency if you have a toddler with a hammer that's smashed your device and you're waiting for replacement.
You thought of it all, didn't you?
Well, we try to make it as practical as possible.
Yeah.
It comes in 4 different models because the one you've got there replaces a single light switch, but we also make models that replace a row of 2, 3, or 4 light switches, which you often have in a house. It was important to us that you can put it anywhere that you want to have a light switch. It's also compatible with standard 3-way wiring, so if you have other switches on the circuit, we coexist with them. And what it does is it gives you touch and voice control over all of the smart devices throughout your house from any room in the house that you want to put one in. So you can control lights, you can control your music through a Sonos player, you can control a thermostat with Nest or Ecobee or Honeywell. You can control any kind of smart device that you have. We have a lot of different integrations, and we're rolling out new ones every week. So it's a sort of a new kind of approach there. It also has Alexa built right into it. So you can speak to Amazon Voice Services from anywhere in your house, and you don't need an Echo or an Echo Dot or anything. We'll respond directly to it and give you a visual response to your questions as well.
So Aaron, Aaron and we talked on the phone a little bit recently because I was interested in reviewing this product for a client and bring it here on the show, of course. And Aaron, we were talking a lot about how the idea behind the Brilliant switch panel, what product category? Switch?
We call it a
controller. Okay, so the point of the Brilliant controller was to help sort of solve the problem of we now have fragmentation already in the IoT world because so many different standards have come out. There's not really a standardization of those standards, and there's different assistants now. And so, how is the Brilliant going to help people be brilliant about the different platforms in their home?
Yeah, well, there's several aspects to that. The first is putting the control everywhere, making it always available. The second is unifying all the devices into a single coherent user experience. We really want to elevate that experience of using the house. It doesn't make sense if you have a different UI and a different app for your lights than you have for your lock, than you have for your doorbell, than you have for your thermostat, and so on. It just makes sense to put these things together and then also to build them into the wall of the house. We feel like if it's your personal device, nobody else has access to it. Only you get to control it. When you build things into the wall of the house, they become a much more integrated part of the home, both physically and conceptually. Physically, obviously, it's built into the wall, but also, when you have, for example, the ability to play music from anywhere in your house, right on the walls, more people in the house will do it. It's not just one person who's configured their account. Everyone in the house starts playing music. People listen to more music on their Sonos. It actually increases the sort of household satisfaction with smart home devices really significantly by making it so accessible to everybody in the home, and creating a simplified, accessible user experience. And then layering on top of that a lot of unique functionality, like you actually get a video intercom with the Brilliant control because it's got a camera built in, a lot of things like that.
Right, and we were showing that on the little product. It's right here. There's a little camera, so you can video chat people like the home of the past that was considered the home of the future.
yeah, a little bit like it. Turns out some of the things that people had there were useful. We also have a little privacy shutter on it, so
that's right.
Just cover it up. Here.
And that's the two switch panel that you're showing off right now, and it comes in up to 4 switches.
That's correct. Yeah,
okay.
It comes in up to 4. When you have more than one, then these grooves are used to control the lights. One of the things we thought was really important is to keep natural gestures, so you don't have to go fumbling around with a UI to turn your light off and on. And with the single one, you just flick up and down, or it supports dimming, so you go more slowly and it dims on the screen itself. But then with the multi-gang ones, we have these touch grooves, so you don't have to go and look on the screen and select anything. You can just do it by touch just as easily as you do a normal light switch.
So can you use the video screen for anything else? Like, could you watch YouTube on it?
Yeah, we
this is a trick question.
This
is a trick question. I hope the answer is no.
Yeah, we actually don't support that yet. Maybe we could at some point in the future, but it's a small screen. It's not really ideal for media consumption. And similarly, the speaker that we have is really designed for voice. Yeah. You wouldn't be happy listening to an album on it in the same way you wouldn't with your iPhone, and for the same reasons, because it's a very thin form factor and there's not a lot of space for a big speaker there.
Well, the reason I ask this is because the smart speakers, like I have the Echo Show, which doesn't have YouTube anymore, and we've also tried the Google Smart Home speaker, and they're great, and they're very they are similar to this product. But why I dislike them, and why our colleague Jason Howell, who has little kids, had to take it out of his house, is because you don't necessarily want your kids always being able to access something like YouTube. But Skyping, or not, you probably don't call it, video calling, is a great tool for kids to be able to say, like, hey, I'm home, or, mom's on a business trip.
Mom, get me some chicken nuggets.
Yeah, or like you're on a business, is it an intercom really only for the home, or can you do video calls? Like if I'm on a business trip, could I see and talk to my kids at home?
Yeah, we will be rolling that out. That's not part of the initial feature set. So we're launching with it as a video intercom, and then over time we'll roll out features like calling from the to and from the app. So baby cam and nanny cam kinds of functionality,
or spy
as well.
cam. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of the
teenagers.
That's what the shutter is for. Make sure it's not a spy cam. Yeah, one of the features that we have is we're really a software platform. So once the hardware is out there and has a lot of capabilities built into the box, we roll out new integrations and new features and refinements every 2 weeks. So it's kind of like a Tesla where you buy it and then a few months later it knows how to park itself, and a few months after that it knows how to drive itself, and a few months after that it knows how to go into space or whatever it's going to do next. So it's the same sort of approach.
Do you have to have Sonos in order for you to play music, or can you use other speakers?
Right now, we support Sonos, and that's a really great experience to have the music control right there in the wall and available visually. Of course, available through Alexa as well. But over time, we'll roll out support for some other platforms as well. Sonos has been the one by far that people have asked for and are using a lot.
Well, that's what a lot of people who have Sonos in their house already. The only frustration point is you can't use your voice to control it, or you have to use the app often. So this is nice because you could use your voice. I presume you could use your voice and not just the screen.
Right now it would be through Alexa, but yeah, you can use that.
Still a lot more convenient than tapping into an app. Aaron, so you mentioned this being a software platform. When we talk about IoT integrated into one particular device or however, like a bridge sort of product like this is, the new marketing term that's sort of associated with it is that it's a hub. How is the Brilliant? Is it the Brilliant a hub? Is it not a hub? I mean, what would you like people to categorize it as in this large, vast world of IoT?
It's in its own category. It's not exactly a hub, although it does include a lot of the capabilities of a hub. But there is also a long tail of devices and of network protocols and so on that it doesn't support. So if you wanted to use Zigbee devices, you would use a hub and we would integrate with them through that hub. So we're compatible with, for example, the SmartThings hub or the Philips Hue bridge or other devices like that. So it gets a little bit confusing, but because we coexist with and complement hubs that people might already have, we think of it more as the control, because our emphasis is on that user experience layer in the home rather than just the raw integration layer, although we do a lot of integration.
What assistance, speaking of integration, what assistance can we expect with the Brilliant? Everything, I mean, we're talking from Google to Apple.
Yeah. Well, right now it has Alexa built in, as well as working with Alexa, which means you can either control it from Alexa or you can access Alexa through it. We also support not only voice, but the visual responses to voice. So you can get a visual response back to a verbal query. And we support the Google Assistant in that we work with it. You can control our lights and our devices from the Google Assistant. We have not yet gotten permission from them to build Google Assistant into our devices, although we certainly intend to do that. Other ones will be more on an as demanded basis by the market. I think that realistically right now, Amazon's Alexa platform is by far the one that has the best ecosystem and the most integrations and the most demand, and that's the one that people are asking for the most. With Google, the clear number two, and providing different strengths than Amazon does. The others are surprisingly far behind in terms of where they are in the marketplace and the maturity of the ecosystem. So we believe in a multi-assistant world. It's still early in the evolution of voice assistants, and it's quite possible that a third, fourth, fifth, or 19th one will emerge and be popular. Our strategy is to integrate any that people want that we can. So we'll be doing that. I do think the future is a multi-assistant world. I don't think that it's a winner takes all market. In the same way, you don't have only one friend that you ever want to ask anything. You don't necessarily have only one assistant that you ever want to ask. And
certain friends for certain things. Some friends you go to for financial advice. Some of them you go to for fashion advice. Some of them you don't go to for advice. You just go to their house to drink.
Yes.
and that's Cortana in this example, by the way.
Yeah, when there's a voice assistant you can do that with, that will be a killer product.
Who says I don't already do that?
Yeah, exactly. So, Aaron, we had teased an MTV style demo. So do you have anything you want to show off on the Brilliant? I know that you have one hooked up behind you, and it just looks like a regular little light panel when you walk in, but it's got smarts.
Yeah. It's. I'm happy to do that. This is not a canned demo. It's just one that happens to be here in this room. So I'll just kind of
very organic demo. This is an organic demo.
Grab this here and see if you can see the screen well enough.
You could go in and out if you want for the real MTV effect, but
yeah, I don't think I'll be doing that. So, can you see that? Okay.
Can you turn the brightness up on that, perchance? On the
brightness is actually up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there we go.
That's
we can
great.
see it.
Perfect. Doing better. Okay. Yeah. So, first thing you see is it's displaying art. That can actually be art that's pictures of your kids or your dogs or anything like that, as well as standard art. If you tap on the screen here, you'll see, for example, the ability to control music. You can pin scenes onto that.
Okay.
You can see your playlists on Pandora or Spotify or whatever. You can select music to play.
Don't go breaking my heart. I like that song.
Why don't I show you some of that visual response? What's the weather?
Redwood City in 66 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's pretty quick.
Skies. Today, you can expect intermittent clouds with a high of 69 degrees and a low of 56 degrees.
So you see, you can actually scroll around on that and see the data that you're interested in, for example. We've got video functionality. We've got the ability to access all sorts of stuff. Why don't I say someone's at the door and rings the doorbell?
Yes.
Right? Now you actually can see a video feed.
Is this the Ring doorbell that you have?
This is the Ring doorbell.
By the way,
you can
TWiT
even
sponsor.
unlock a door right there from that screen. I don't know if you heard that, but it's just unlocked. So there are a lot of different kinds of capabilities you have. You also have scenes that are programmable where you can do anything that you can do with the control. You can put it into a scene and just access it with a single tap or a single voice command. So a lot of different kinds of things you can do with it. And that's one of the reasons that as a product, it's hard to succinctly explain what it does, because it's really just designed to unify all of the different home functions together and then provide a bunch of services on top of that. So that includes smart lighting as well as the intercom and video services and so on.
That was an amazing transition, by the way. Thank you.
I think the problem, the reason why we're struggling with finding a product category is nothing else does this. I mean, I don't...
Except an app on your phone.
Right.
Because I just think about, this is what I do with my Android phone, and it's absolutely... It's not a great experience because my husband has no controls over the stuff in our house. Only I do.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah, I think if you want to look for similar kinds of functionality, although not similar user experiences, you'd have to look to the high-end home automation market.
Yep.
And if you look at things like Crestron and Savant and folks like that, you might spend $100,000 plus installing a home automation system into your house. And what we've done is taken that kind of capability, that kind of integration, and democratized it to the point that it can easily be part of a modest home remodel or a DIY product. We also offer it through that channel if you want professional installation and so on. So it's really taking something that's been available at the very high end of the market that most consumers never see, and taking advantage of advances in technology to offer it at a much lower price point.
I love the physical switch to turn off the camera. What else can you tell us about privacy and security? Someone in our chat room asked, how easy is it to turn into a botnet?
Hey, it's a fair question.
Were they asking that because they didn't want it to, or because they wanted a botnet?
That is a good question. I am going to go with the positive and think that they don't want it to turn into a botnet.
Yeah, no, we take security very, very seriously. And unlike, unfortunately, a lot of IoT products, this is designed with security in mind from the bottom up. It utilizes end-to-end encryption on on the connections that it has. We've thought carefully about the model for joining a home and making sure that somebody can't join your home illicitly, and you have all the right to authorization, which is always a difficult balancing act with making it easy to use and to set up. And we think we've struck a nice point there. But we take that very, very seriously. I actually have a background in cybersecurity and did some work with the Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Secret Service on preventing cyber attacks and so on. And it's very near and dear to my heart to make it as secure as it can be.
You really buried the lead there. You have a background in cybersecurity. That's great.
That was actually my fault. I knew that. I buried the lead, actually.
I didn't know that was the lead.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Today it's so important, and I feel like a lot of people go into this market developing a product without thinking about cybersecurity. I mean, you know this, that many people don't. So it's great to know that you have
And then
that
we
background.
get hacked. And then we get hacked.
Yeah, it's an easy thing to do for a startup because it's hard to ship a product. So they're focused on the functionality and just getting that out. And if they don't approach that with some expertise already in place and an understanding of how to design it securely, then it can look like an enormous effort to make it secure afterward. But if you design it for security and privacy from the ground up, then you really have a leg up on that.
So I feel like we should let people know how much this costs and where they can buy it.
Yep. So it's depends on which one you buy. So the single starts at $299, the double is $349, the triple is $399, and the quad is $449. And it's available on our website at www.brilliant.tech.
I love that.
And you said you could pay for installation as well if you don't feel comfortable taking the panels.
Right. So if you're interested in installation and you're buying it DIY, there's a little checkbox when you check out that you're interested in installation, and we can refer you to an installation partner. It's also available through custom installers. So if you have sort of more of a high-end system that you want to be integrating it in with, then you should just talk to your custom integrator, and they'll be able to get it through distribution as well.
Cool. All right.
Thank you so much for taking
you.
the time. I love this product. It's amazing, and I've tried a lot. I mean, the price point is very reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, to get under $300 for one really does. I mean, you're speaking the truth when you say it can fit into a modest home, and I love that. So
my modest 80s home. We'll see how it fits there. Since I'll be installing this thing pretty soon and configuring it for my hackneyed smart home or smart townhome, as it were.
Erin Amy, CEO and co-founder of Brilliant. Thank you so much. And Erin also wrote an excellent piece, an op-ed, I guess, for CNBC about tariffs. So you can check that out as well, about being an entrepreneur if that's what you're interested in. Take a look at that too. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Real pleasure.
Thank you, Erin. Also, just want to put there for the record that because Erin is in Redwood City, that Redwood City's slogan is "Climate Best by Government Test."
Oh,
no one's quite sure what that government test is, but we take them at the
It's always in hovering in the 60s and 70s around there. It's the perfect weather. Anyway. Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.
Thank you.